Welcome back to the Big Leagues podcast. David and Isaac back again. Uh, there's a big potential rumor in the UFC that we wanted to talk about a potential 165-pound division. I heard this rumor a little while back ago, but I thought it was just a rumor.
Just rumors. Nothing happened with me.
But then recently, Rafael Fiziev, who's like a good lightweight contender, said that he heard that it was like pretty serious. So it just got us thinking, like, if that were to be the case, I would assume they would keep 155, add 165, and then switch welterweight to 175. So we were just thinking, okay, who would go to 165? Who would stay at their respective weight classes? So we kind of came up with a list of 10 guys plus a potential champion that we think could be in this division. And then we're just going to go through, like, we're going to rank them and come up with a consensus list, and then maybe just debate some potential title shots and potential implications of this division. So I'll kick it off to you, Isaac. Who would you have as the inaugural champ of this division?
As my champ, I feel like this kind of a pretty easy one. I think it just it makes sense because I have Islam, I'll just say. But yeah. I think it's because, he's pretty big for 155, and I think he'd be more comfortable at 165. I think that'd be like a less harder cut for him and just an easier weight class for him to probably fight at. So I just think it kind of makes sense. I think Islam would probably go double champ at 165 and 155. Who do you got, David?
Yeah, I think he'd be the champ of that division for a while. I don't think anyone could beat him at 155 or 165. There's probably going to be like a lot of guys. Like, it's kind of hard coming up with our list here, but a lot of the guys, like, from 155 we got staying, so like only a couple are really moving up. So I think he would definitely be the champ. Who would you have as number one contender?
This is where it kind of gets tough for me. If you have week's time, I think it'd be a lot easier, but
we have so many guys on this list that are fighting next week. So
because for me, it'd probably come down to the winner of Benoit Saint Denis and Poirier.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think they're kind of the two top guys out of the list of guys we got here. I'm gonna give it to Poirier. I think
okay,
for the veteran guy, he's got a little more experience under his belt, and I don't hate his chances to beat Benoit Saint Denis too, even though he's looked like a killer and kind of just destroyed everybody in his path. I just think Poirier's just such a gritty guy and is willing to go to the extra mile. So I'd go Poirier, then Benoit Saint Denis. Who do you got there?
Yeah, I got it like razor thin. This is one of the fights I'm most excited to see on the schedule. Just one of those fights where I have no clue who's going to win. Like, you got Benoit Saint Denis on a big win streak, like finishing all these guys, young, hungry, up-and-comer. And then you got Poirier, who's the veteran, who's, beat Conor. Although coming off that head kick loss to Gaethje, we'll see. He's like revered for his chin, but after a knockout like that and going up against a powerful guy, we'll see how that chin holds up. I think if you put a gun to my head, I would say Benoit Saint Denis, but if you want to go Poirier, I'm not going to fight you on it.
See, I'm fine either way because I could see either of them winning, but I feel like if it came out like today, they'd probably give it, because what rank is Saint Denis even in?
He's a lot lower down the list than Poirier. Poirier's at 3 in lightweight, and Saint Denis all the way at 12. So
if it came out today, they'd probably give Poirier just because he's got more kind of accomplishments behind him.
Yeah. All right, we can go Poirier at 2, and then
Saint Denis.
Saint Denis at 3. I agree with you there.
Okay.
I guess at 2. Sorry, but yeah.
So who do you have for your third?
Might be a bit controversial, but I think I'm honestly going Ian Gary. His striking's really good. Like, he's master at distance. I know he gets shit for his like personality and all that, but just looking at his fighting, like, he's got good striking. His takedown defense is held up to date, and the list of guys we got here, there's not like too many superstars here. So I would personally have Gary. I have a feeling I know who you're gonna pick.
To be honest, out of our list, I'd have 2 more guys over him. I might be discrediting Gary a little because I'm a hater, but I just think I guess I'll just say the guy Cole. I think Cole being,
Of
I think
course.
more. I think if they fought, he'd beat Gary. I just think his wrestling's better, and he's got a great chin. And like Gary just hasn't really fought any elite guys. He hasn't really beat anyone that I'd consider, a top guy. So
Who's the last guy that Colby beat that you consider a top guy?
I mean, well, was Masvidal good?
I mean, I'm a big Masvidal fan, but I don't know if
I'd say like
that's an elite guy at that stage of his career.
anyone that Gary's beat would be better than that Masvidal.
I mean, probably not, but like not by that much.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a fight that we could see very soon. I'd love to see that for the press conference.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be good, and
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see who would win. I think that would be a great fight for the 165 division between those two like big personalities. I don't know how we're gonna get to an agreement here.
Would you take Gary? I guess we'll say another guy on the list. Would you take him comfortably over Chandler?
Not comfortably.
But,
I mean, I'd have McGregor over. I think McGregor's gonna beat Chandler. So
okay, I guess. Okay, so what are you firm on Gary at 3?
not firm. I mean, you're pretty low on him. So if we have a more like consensus, like could we with dignity put Connor at 3? Could we?
I'm sure Dana would have no problem putting that 3.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if they could give Connor the shot right away. The fan base would just go lucrative. But I think if he wins one fight, they're gonna give him the title shot. You know they will.
If he beats Chandler, they very well would probably give him the title shot at 165. Like,
for sure they will. That's probably the whole point of the division.
Yeah. Would you be fine to go Connor and Colby above Gary?
I mean, not really, but I suppose I'd rather put Connor than Colby.
Really?
Yeah, I'm out on Colby, man. After that last performance, you can't run your mouth like that and then do nothing for 5 rounds.
I mean, he broke his foot though. To be fair,
I guess, but like I don't know. You can't just do nothing for 5 rounds. It's like he lost it. His like biggest claim to fame is losing 3 title fights. Like he hasn't done anything in the sport, really, to be honest, in my opinion.
he beat Sleepy Tyron Woodley. I mean,
It was like 6 years ago, maybe.
I just feel that Gary hasn't done enough to be like Colby's already ranked above him in welterweight. So I feel like if the UFC was making a ranking, they'd probably go Colby above Gary.
I mean, yeah, by technical rankings, I guess Colby would be next. But if we're going based more so on like, go forward,
okay,
the division, I don't know.
I need someone above Gary. I don't feel comfortable putting him in the 3 hole.
What about honestly another like young guy that we'll see how his fight goes next week, but I feel like Jack Della Maddalena would be coming up soon for me.
Yeah, would you have him above?
Entertain him. It might be a little high to put him that high, but we'll see how this fight goes with Burns.
See, I think for me, the next 4 would be a combination of Colby, Connor, Chandler, and Gary.
Yeah.
And then probably Jack.
Okay, so let's say you have to have someone ahead of Gary. I have to have someone ahead of Colby. So who do you want to go next then? That'll be our agreement.
I mean, Chandler?
Chandler? Over Connor? You think he beats Connor?
If I had to put my life on it, I'd say.
Okay.
But if I have to put my heart into it, I'll say Connor.
You want to go Chandler?
Yeah, I'll go. So wait, would we go then Chandler? Chandler who? Because we're coming on the same. We're coming up.
I'll give you Colby just for the sake of progression.
Okay, so Chandler, Colby,
Gary,
Connor.
Sure.
Okay, and then would you go Jack after them?
I'd go Jack next. Yeah.
And then Luke.
Yeah, I'd go Luke next.
Okay. And then who would you go out of the last two?
I'd go Rafael dos Anjos next, just because he's like former champ and
He's got
he's ranked in lightweight. So I'd give the nod to him. And then lastly, I guess that leaves us with Mike Maylott. We're just slotting him in there, Canadian boy, giving him a courtesy. I don't know, hard to come up with guys because you don't know what weight people are, who's gonna stay, who's gonna go. So
like, there's a lot of guys like Gilbert Burns. We weren't sure if maybe he'd move down, and it's really
those lightweight guys like Dariush and Sarukian and Gamrot and all those guys. I think most of the 155 guys would just stay. I think, like, unless they're killing themselves to make weight, but that's not really information that we have.
And especially if like Benoit Saint Denis, Poirier, Chandler, Islam all leaving the division.
Yeah, like if Islam, let's say he like vacates the 155 belt. I mean, if you're a guy like Oliveira or Sarukian or those guys, like, you're gonna want to stay and you're gonna want to take that belt.
Yeah, and
I think another thing too would be, I think Volkanovski at that point would go up, and I think I don't think he'd be that far away from a title shot with Islam gone.
I think if they don't give him the rematch, he's gonna go to 155 anyways, even if they don't at this new division. I just don't really think it makes sense for him to fight anyone else. Like, he's kind of already mossed the division.
It's just hard when Islam's that champ and he beat you twice.
Well, I just think maybe like they go. I don't even really know who he'd fight. Maybe like Gaethje.
That'd be a good fight. Or like, I think him and Oliveira would be a good fight too. Like, especially if like Sarukian beats Oliveira like pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that would be a big fight. Like, I'd probably lean Oliveira, but I'd like to see it.
Volk or Sarukian?
Over Volk. That's another one of my favorite fights coming up. Like, that I have no idea who's gonna win.
Sarukian?
No clue. Yeah, I have no clue.
I'm a big Oliveira's, definitely one of my favorite fighters, so I'm definitely pulling for him. But I'm like, when I first saw the odds, I was so shocked that he was like that big of a dog.
I think that's one of the fights where I'm just gonna play the underdog. Like, I don't know.
I just think the value wise, it makes more sense to bet Oliveira as a underdog. That's
especially like either that or like Oliveira by finish. I think if Oliveira wins, it's probably by finish.
No, I think it'd be by finish too.
And then do you think? I guess they would just give Leon the 175 belt, would they?
Yeah, if they're kind of just moving that up as welterweight, then they'd probably just let Leon retain.
Just keep going the same way that they had planned.
Yeah.
But like, another thing with our like theoretical division is there's a lot of like good matchups that we could see. I mean, we kind of talked about Colby versus Gary, but when you got like, especially like if Connor wins and then you put him against Islam, like that would break the world. And like Chandler versus Gary, or like Chandler versus Colby versus Poirier,
Colby versus Connor, like they both win.
Yeah, versus Connor, that would break the world.
Like, just with like kind of the top like 6-7 guys, there's just a lot of sick fights you can make.
I mean, what would be like your dream fight in that scenario?
I think my dream fight's Colby, my two boys, Colby and Connor. I just think that'd be, the press conferences would be like just as good as the fight, and it'd just be like pure comedy TV just watching them two go at it. So that'd probably be my dream fight. But like, in terms of, I feel like Benoit Saint Denis versus Islam would be a pretty good fight too.
I mean, we'll see. If Poirier whoops him, then I'm not going to be too interested. But if he goes out there and puts a beating on Dustin, I'd be interested to see it. I think for me, like, part of me wants to say McGregor versus Islam just for like the magnitude and the storyline, but I don't want to see him go out there and get whooped. Like,
destroyed by Islam. Like, there's just,
unless he just somehow like caught him somehow. But
I'd love to, if Chandler and Poirier both lose, let them run it back for Poirier's last fight. Just another slugfest.
I'd be down to see that.
Yeah. Poirier Colby too.
Yeah, they got beef. They got real beef.
It's still personal with them. But Dustin keeps saying he ain't fighting him in the octagon if he fights him in jail.
Who would you like in that one? I'm guessing Colby.
I mean, I've grown in. I used to not like Dustin, but I've grown into a fan. You know, just kind of appreciating how he just goes out there and lays on the line every time. Like if Colby comes out how he did against Leon, then
Yeah,
probably Dustin. Yeah. If we're getting like Usman Colby, then I'd probably go Colby.
That's what I was thinking. Like when that beef was stirred up, I just thought, I mean, Colby's the guy at 170, and like he's got that wrestling that seems to be better than everyone else. So I thought that he just out wrestled Dustin, but you ask me now, I think I'd gotta go Dustin.
Like Dustin can hold his own against wrestlers. Like
yeah, Dustin's definitely a good grappler. So
like
I
he's
don't know, maybe he would have enough grappling to neutralize that.
Yeah. Like he almost submitted, like the closest anyone's been to submit Steve. So I mean, I don't think like Colby could just sniff his crotch for 5 rounds and just get
that's true.
So I think honestly that might be one of the most entertaining fights you can make at this division too.
It'd be up there.
Yeah.
If you could put a percent chance that they make this 165 division, what would you say?
I don't know. I feel like they've been talking about it for a while, and like you said, that lightweight came out and it was, basically saying it's confirmed. So I'd probably say 60%. I think it's more probable than it is not to happen.
Yep. I think that's a pretty good percentage that I'd agree with.
Yeah.
I think my theory is that they're gonna announce this after UFC 300.
It makes sense.
It does make sense to do it then. And the other thing too that I think is interesting is the way they're handling like this McGregor Chandler fight, where like they're like delaying it, and Conor said they're fighting in June, and Dana said no, they're fighting in fall, and just seems so weird how that's all playing out. So it's kind of an indicator to me that okay, maybe they are having this 165-pound division, and
imagine
would they do Conor Chandler for the belt?
Imagine 165 in the sphere, like because they said they're doing the sphere fight late September.
I don't think it would be in the sphere.
No, but just imagine Conor Chandler for the 165 belt in the sphere.
That would be nuts.
That'd be crazy. I wouldn't put past Dana one bit.
I don't know. I just think the backlash he would get for giving Conor a title shot.
Islam already had a fight booked before they announced it, and like Conor and Chandler fights basically already made, so they just said, all right, they're gonna kick off the 165. Winner's gonna get the interim title.
I mean, maybe. I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, we all know Conor and Dana's relationship, and I saw like DC was talking about this division, and he said like if they're doing it, they gotta give the first shot to Conor, which I thought was interesting. But yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see how this goes, and we got UFC 299 next week, so
yeah,
we'll probably do a quick breakdown on that too. And
sure.
Yeah, excited for some big UFC stuff.
Yeah, for sure.